All right, I'm back. Looks like I'm online on Facebook and I am online with YouTube. So I'm back. Let me start over. Happy Friday, everybody. I hope that you had a great week. Sorry that I had to dip out for a second. I was having some technical difficulties. I want to be able to see your comments, and my chat wasn't loading. So, um, if you're here, you're just joining me, tell me hello in the comments. This is live. Yes. Hi, Jamie. Good to see you. And not a pre recorded video that I know that I was reviewing some different tools for these live streams, and many of them offer restreaming services, but they're all pre recorded. And I was like, well, that's not, I want to be here talking to you. If we can't sit down in person, then this is close to the next best thing. The next best thing would be one on one conversations or one on many conversations where we can all share. But I'll take what I can get for now. Anyway, share with me, if you will, some wins, some aha moments, experiences that you've had this week, and bonus points, as always, if it's a result of any of our conversations. I'd love to know how they've impacted you and what it's enabled you to do. I hope that you're taking some things away, you're able to implement them in your life, and you're able to move forward towards something you're trying to achieve. And I'm going to do things a little differently today. So share those things with me in the comments. If you're just joining, say hello. And I will jump into today's content. Let's see what I have for you. So think about this for a second. What's more fun for a dog? Chasing the car that's just out of reach, or having caught the car to then sit beside it in the driveway? Of course, the chase would be the exciting part. And it's the same for every one of us. So I've mentioned before the course material, or the workshop slash seminar material I'm preparing, and I thought about telling you where that comes from, and so here's the gist of it, and then I want to share a story with you, couple tidbits for today, for this Friday. Dan Miller started teaching this material originally as a Sunday school class. And the response at that class was so overwhelming. Now, let me back up, because if you're familiar with Dave Ramsey, let me just tell you that Dan Miller was the original career coach for Dave Ramsey and Dave Ramsey's programs. So when it comes to career coaching through Dave Ramsey's work, Dan Miller's the one behind the scenes. And they were both in the same little Sunday school class at some point, and their businesses took on different directions and morphed slightly differently, but they both experienced a pretty great level of success as a result of the work that they were both doing. So anyway, so Dan started teaching this material as a Sunday school class, and the response was so overwhelming that he moved it right away to a weekly community seminar type format. And it was in those sessions that he heard the real life stories and started developing this material that has now been able to guide thousands of people into meaningful, purposeful, and profitable work. Saint Irenaeus declared in the 2nd century, "The glory of God is man fully alive." And my question for you is, what does it mean to be fully alive? What does it mean for you? How many of you would love waking up every Monday excited about going to work, to feel true meaning and purpose in your life, to turn your passions into profits, and to be able to combine work and play? Isn't that what we've been talking about for the last few weeks? Yes. If you haven't been here, the answer is yes. Let me give you some statistics. Hey, Will, good to see you, my friend. And Jamie, I'm not going to ignore your comment. I'm going to come back to it here in a second. But here's some statistics to think about that are coming out of our current work environment and workplace today. The average job is about 3 years in length for people aged 25 to 34. and a little bit higher, 4.5 years for 35 plus. Those in their 20s are changing jobs every 12 to 13 months. 72% of Americans would rather work for themselves than for another company. I decided that before I ever left the military. That's me. 55% of respondents in 2019 said the biggest motivation for opening their own business was to be their own boss. And I can tell you that that is great. It has its downsides. Sometimes my boss is just a jerk, but I digress. COVID has rendered 31% ish of small businesses in the US currently non operational. Millennials and Gen Zs are 188% more likely to have the aim of creating a side business compared to baby boomers. More than 90% of the business population represents small and medium-sized businesses. There are currently more than 38 million home-based businesses in the US. And today there are more than 30.7 million small businesses in the United States. Small companies create 1.5 million jobs annually and account for 64% of new jobs created in the US. In 2019, only 60% of the workplace were employees. So I'm going to pose this question to you. Is this a time to find your own voice? Or is it a time to buckle down, be realistic, practical, and wait for things to get better? And Jamie, I see your comment. That doesn't mean you have to decide to work for yourself. If that's not meant for you, that's okay. But find your voice in the workplace and start pursuing those things that are going to make you happy. And yes, a paycheck makes people happy, but is that all there is to it? And if you have been listening to me for the past couple weeks, you already know the answer is hell no. There's a lot more that can be had. You just have to get creative in your approach and creative in seeking out that work, or creative in creating your own business and making that an effective place to be. If that's not for you, again, that's okay. So before I go on, let me finish what I was saying here first, and then I want to share an excerpt of a story with you. So work models and opportunities are constantly changing, and we need to be able to see more solutions than what are obvious on the surface. That's all I'm talking about. And so I'll come back to that in a moment. Jamie, you don't have to listen to me. I do appreciate our little chats, and I actually have included something from this morning's chat at the end of this, so stick around. Let's see. Will, hello. Good to see you. I said that, I think. Jamie says she's just being honest. I'm not actively doing crap for my progress. I did meet some new people last night for a bunco game, and that was fun. Ding, ding, ding. If you don't get that, ask somebody what they do at bunco. They ring bells and they drink wine. That's all I know about it anyway. Maybe they roll some dice. I don't know. I've never played before and I had a good time, so maybe that counts in some regard. Life isn't all work. No, it doesn't have to be all work. Unfortunately, too many people prioritize work over life, and that's really why we're here talking. So it is a lot of turnover, Jamie, for your 20s, and it's only getting worse, and that's because people are more apt or more in tune with looking for things until they eventually hopefully land on something that they enjoy. The problem is that at a young age, they are forced to decide on something without actually having the experience to be able to make clear decisions. And so they're willing to take more risk nowadays in pursuing that thing. And what I'm here teaching is how to actually pursue that thing, identify that thing, and obtain that thing. So I agree with you. And let's see, I don't drink wine, but I did roll dice and ring a bell. Yes, fair enough. Just like Jamie, some people are the opposite and can't work for other people. Pat, yes, I appreciate you being here, brother. I appreciate you participating in the discussion. Join the military. They'll take care of that. Yeah, well, I'll reserve my comments. The military is a good option. I will tell you that from my personal experience, the military is a good option for people who just can't figure out what that looks like for them, and they need something either as a platform to help them reach new heights, a platform to provide some stability and security while they figure those things out, or um, maybe they do need that additional discipline in their lives, and that is a great place to go for those things. I will not discount what the military provides on the other side of that either. It is a good experience overall, and I encourage everyone, if they're considering it, to pursue that. But make sure it's the right choice for you. Yes, I agree with Pat. All right, so let me read you this excerpt. This is an excerpt from No More Dreaded Mondays. It's called The Story of Pebbles. Many years ago in an Indian village, a farmer had the misfortune of owing a large sum of money to the village moneylender. The old and ugly moneylender fancied the farmer's beautiful daughter, so he proposed a bargain. He'd forgive the farmer's debt if he could marry his daughter. Both the farmer and his daughter were horrified, but the cunning moneylender suggested that they let Providence decide the matter. He told them that he'd place a black pebble and a white pebble into an empty bag. The girl would reach inside and pick one of the pebbles from the bag. If she picked the black pebble, she would be his wife, and her father's debt would be forgiven. If she picked the white pebble, she need not marry him, and her father's debt would still be forgiven. If she refused to pick a pebble, her father would be thrown into jail until the debt was paid. They were standing on a pebble-strewn path in the farmer's field. As they talked, the moneylender bent over and picked up 2 pebbles. The sharp-eyed girl noticed that he picked up 2 black pebbles and put them into the bag. He then asked the girl to pick a pebble. Now, imagine you were that girl standing in the field. What would you have done? If you had to advise her, what would you have told her? Careful analysis would produce 3 potential possibilities. 1, the girl could refuse to take the pebble, but her father would then be thrown in jail. 2, the girl could pick a black pebble and sacrifice herself in order to save her father from debt and imprisonment. Or 3, the girl could pull out both black pebbles in the bag, expose the moneylender as a cheat, and likely incite his immediate revenge. Take a moment to think through this story, will you? Dan has used it here with the hope that it will help you see alternate solutions besides what you may believe is the obvious choice. Because the girl's dilemma cannot be solved with traditional logical thinking. Now, why do I tell you this story? Because you may be in a similar situation. You may be in a job you hate, but the pay is good. And you feel like you have 2 choices. You can stay in the job you hate, or you can leave the job but give up the great pay. But are those really all the options? All right, back to the girl with the 2 black pebbles in the bag. Here is what the girl did. She put her hand in the bag and drew out a pebble. Without looking at it, she fumbled it and let it fall onto the pebble-strewn path, where it immediately became lost among all of the other pebbles. "Oh, how clumsy of me," she said. "But never mind. If you look in the bag for the one that is left, you'll be able to tell which pebble I picked." And since the remaining pebble was black, it would have to be assumed that she had picked the white one. And since the moneylender dared not admit his dishonesty, the girl would have changed what seemed an impossible situation into an extremely advantageous one. Now, can you see more creative solutions for your own situation? Any work situation you are looking at should have at least 8 to 10 creative solutions. The best solution may not look like the old job did. The attractions of the new models of work include more security, a more satisfying lifestyle, greater financial opportunities, more time freedom, and the opportunity to live with purpose and passion, or, as we started this conversation, to be more fully alive. So here's what let me pause there. I'm going to go back to the comments and see what you have to say. And then I'm going to share something with you from today. Your brother Pat says his brother joined the military and learned to be disciplined and to become a leader. Yes, that is a distinct benefit of joining the military for many people. And that gave him the you-know-what to start his own landscaping company after learning the trade. Okay, so I know which brother you're talking about. Very good. Jamie says, I had 2 scholarships for music to either Florida State or University of Southern Florida, I think. Is that right? USF. It did give me a great stepping stone into adulthood. Speaking of the military, I'm pretty sure. I also wanted out of Florida, so there's that. Jamie said she would have been honest and told the guy. Okay, you'd have called him out. Yep. And then, yes, I agree. Her solution was quite clever. So let me share this with you. That's my message for today, but I'm going to take all of that and wrap it up this way. Today, I dare you to be brave. Do something for you. Take action towards living your purpose. Taking all of the things that we've talked about and deciding on what action you can take today to start moving in that direction. Finding more meaning in your life. So what will you do today to change your future? Again, whatever it is, be sure it's something that you can implement and start taking action on today. So maybe it's not, moving jobs or purchasing a hotel or becoming an actor. Maybe that's not what you can do today, but what can you do today to start moving in that direction? I dare you to do that. You can also feel free to join me in the Facebook group, the Clarity Collective, and share with us, if you will, what you did today to take action toward the direction of your dreams, your hopes, and your desires. All right, so I'll open it back up for comments, questions, conversation topics, whatever you'd like to talk about from here. That was my message for you for today, and I appreciate, as always, all of you being here. Thank you, Jamie. I appreciate your comments. Again, I'll stick around for a minute if anybody has questions or other comments or discussion topics while we're here. This awkward silence is awkward. If it feels that way, maybe it is. But I think that you could come up with a reasonable, out of the box solution that would allow you to pursue some action today, no matter how small. And thanks for your input, Will. Can you make a job you hate into a job you love? That's a good question, Will. And I would say in your situation, that might be difficult. And for many people, I would imagine it's difficult. But what creative solutions can you come up with, right? If you are showing up, being fully present, and being your truest self in the job that you might not like, do you think you could at least improve the circumstances, improve the way you feel about the work you're in currently? Now, I know for you, it's hard to change what you're in, but could you get creative in other opportunities that might exist within the realm of where you are currently? Could you bring some of your previous work skills and experience to the table and reach out for opportunities and different experiences within that realm? I think maybe you could. Would that improve your work situation? I think maybe. And I know it's not always possible. There's limitations in the military in particular. Sometimes it comes down to we need people to fill billets, and we're not going to move you. But maybe there's an opportunity that you can leverage your skills and your experience to pursue something closer aligned with who you really are. Could you do that? And at the end of the day, the worst they can tell you is no. But you can start on other areas of your life today too, Will. You could start pursuing small things that can improve other areas of your life that make it feel better when you do go to work, to a job that you potentially dislike. I hope that's helpful. Well, it is been about 20 minutes. So I think I'm going to wrap it up right there. And of course, as always, if you have more questions or more thoughts related to today's or any day's topic content, please share in the Facebook group. I'd love to hear that there. And those who aren't able to join us can participate in those conversations. And then be sure to come back and share something that you did today. I'd really like to hear that from you. In the meantime, have a great weekend. Do something for you all weekend, but today do something to improve your situation or start improving your situation today. That's it. Have a great weekend.